There we go. There we go. There we go. How everybody doing today? Happy Thursday. We are officially on. Let me see. Just want to make sure if we are on. Where's my mouse? I think we should be good. Hello. I think we should be good on both. We're on YouTube. We're also on Instagram Live. So I got both cameras on. We are in motion, guys. Happy Thursday once again. Today, for today's class, I wanted to talk about something that we all can work on, especially when it comes to the skill trades, especially when it comes to owning, operating your business, as well as becoming and being educators in the field. And the topic I want to genuinely hear from you all is, what's the difference between teaching and telling? We know that's something that can be very hard. We all fall short when it comes to telling someone to do something rather than teaching. And I wanted to hear the different perspectives of you guys when it comes to teaching versus telling. That's something I want to help. Boom, because us as educators, us as contractors, us just day in the life of everybody, an individual, we fall into the habit of saying, do this. And I fall short on that a lot of the times, especially when it comes to family, especially when it comes to friends, especially when it comes to employees. We're so much in the, hey, let's figure this out. Let's figure out the issue. Let's solve the issue. So we tell people what to do. We don't teach. So I want to hear your thoughts on the difference between telling versus teaching. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Let's see. The comments are already going. Utah and Stelman. It's a reunion. We got Chad, Nick. We got Andrew. Stelman, what's up, Mr. Steal My Girl? That's what I do. Kyle, my homie, how's the family? What up, Chad? Family's great. How about yours? Good. Everyone's acquainted, reunited, and it feels so good. But that's the topic at hand. So we have a few people with us. We have Faro, we have Ampline, we got Andrew, we got Tennis, we have Haley, we got Diamond, Kyle, Chad, Stelman, Nick, and baby girl Danny. I wanted to know the difference between you guys when it comes to telling versus teaching. And we have some examples of that. When it came to starting off in the skill trades, when it came to learning about it, I usually, stop it for me. I'm a big teacher, some of the lead. Okay, awesome. So when I started in the trades, I think a lot of you guys can relate to it, where a lot of the people back in the day would just dictate or tell you what you had to do. And then at the end of the day, you had to figure it out. Because the telling versus teaching leads into our next topic with discussion. What we wanted to talk about is when we have the habit of trying to figure out on our own. Because it all starts with, in the beginning, we were told what to do. Hey, you do this. Why? Shut up. Just do it. Just do it. And just we had a few conversations with Chad. He goes, this next generation is not that they're lazy. It's just that they don't put up with people just telling them what to do. It's like, tell me why I shouldn't do that. Tell me why I should do that. So I wanted to break that conversation down. Once again, another stigma that we can overcome as skill trades professionals. But just like everybody else, when I was going up in school, I was going through my apprenticeship. It was very much so, this is what you do. Why? They never referenced the code. They said most of the things as a preference. That's why also I feel like so many people, when they go through their day-to-day job, when they go through their inspections, the inspector says, hey, do this. People just go, okay, cool, and just do it. And then they don't rebuttal. They don't respond. They don't show, hey, respectfully, that's not part of the code. That's beyond the code. You're talking preference. I don't need to do that. Oh, just do it because I said so. Just because they're their HJ, just because they're the local inspector. And they don't know how to rebut against that. And then this generation of inspectors go, no, this is just how you're supposed to do it. Do it or I fail you. They're so used to that as part of the culture of the industry. Just do it because I told you so. So it started back at the apprenticeship where people say, hey, we put this at this height. Why? Because that's just the way it is. You don't say, hey, in code, we got to go 6'7", ba ba, top of the disconnect, ba 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 ba. They don't explain that. They just say code. They don't even spit code. They just say embark an order and expect you to follow suit and understand what they're trying to say. So now when you get an apprentice, what do you end up doing? It's just like that expression where people say hurt people hurt people. Hey kid, just do this. Now we're in a system of telling people what to do rather than teaching them what to do. So that's something I wanted to discuss with you guys. This is basically, I feel like it's going to turn into blue collar therapy eventually, but I just want to hear what you guys have to say. You guys already started jumping in, so I'm going to read some of the comments right now. Stelman Electrical. Huge stop it for me. I'm a big teacher. Some of my lead guys don't teach, and I try to express how important it is to make their life easier. I like that. You're trying to break the stigma already, and you're already doing that within your own company. I love that because the best way we can teach or train the next generation is by teaching and training the current generation so they can pass off those next work ethics. I love that, brother. I'm dictating my text, and I don't like my effing accent. I appreciate you, bro. Figueroa Electric. Teaching versus telling is the approach and depth of the interaction. Exactly. Very simple. Why? Because I'm going to smack the shit out of you if you don't do it. Yeah, you see? Thanks, LOL. But that's the stuff that we're talking about. So many people are coming to this trade genuinely scared because they hear all the stuff that has happened. They hear all the stuff, the horror stories from, how people were taught, and then they end up teaching the next generation the same ways that they were taught. So for many people, this is an issue that just keeps popping up, and we got to speak about it. We got to talk about it so we can get ahead about it, and then make sure that everybody coming in doesn't have to go through the same thing, so we can genuinely get new people interested in coming into the trades. So with that in mind, that breaks us off into two different tangents: teaching versus telling. And then that goes down to, as inspectors, right? That is the first topic we're going to jump into. So wherever we are, we know states vary from, and then different inspectors vary from state to state. New York has third party where you can actually open up your own inspector shop. We know Pennsylvania is the same. Connecticut, Massachusetts, we have municipal inspectors. We also have state inspectors. Exactly. Andrew said it. We need tradespeople, but how do we incentivize them? How do we get them in? We have to now train and educate the current generation to bring in and incentivize the next generation. So when we're talking about these two different states or different state inspector requirements, we know in Connecticut, Massachusetts, more to the north, New England area, they have municipal inspectors. So each town varies the inspector, but at the same time, it also varies the type of inspector. In Connecticut, there's very few electrical inspectors. What we have primarily are building officials. So building officials are in charge of the entire department, and they're basically know about a lot of the little trades. Some may be dominant in one trade, like my building official used to be, or the one I worked with used to be a plumber, but he handled the entire department. But he was a master at plumbing. But you'll go to some towns where building official is not an electrician, he's just a builder. So how do you reason? How do you speak with? How do you interact with individuals who don't have the background, who then dictate the flow of the inspection and then tell you to do something that's not code related or code compliant, that they say do because I say so? That goes back in telling rather than teaching. They don't understand the position that they're in. They don't understand how when they tell somebody to do something that you can have that discussion back and forth. But they fall into the old construction habit of telling versus teaching. Today, JC Repair _ more says, totally agree. Not many CIAS techs. That is the reason here in North Carolina there is so low in the trade of electricians. Caleb says, what do you think about people saying the electrical trade is oversaturated? I've seen comments about it. I appreciated both those viewpoints. I agree with you. North Carolina, it's low in electricians. And then Caleb's over here saying it's oversaturated. There is genuinely not enough electricians. The statistics show that. You can go on the Department of Labor, Department of Census, Department of Education, and you can see by the end of 2035, we're going to probably need 8 million new electricians just to keep up with what's left, all renovations and new projects coming up by 2035. So Caleb, when they start talking about we're oversaturated, we're definitely not. You may have towns, cities, areas where it's oversaturated, but as a whole, we need a lot more skilled workers. Nobody's coming in. There you go. Look at Andrew Reynolds right now. If you have any questions, reach out to Andrew. In 10 years, 50% retiring. On top of the group that already retired, that already reached their 30 to 50 years. So it's just a downward spiral right now when it comes to the skilled trades. So everybody has to keep working. We need electricians. It's not oversaturated. You may be oversaturated in a specific area, a specific town, a specific zone geographically, but as a whole, we need more. Some masters don't teach because students leave. I agree. And as when it comes to the sense in education, for example. So when it comes to the sense in education's metrics of success is completely different from the metrics of a business, in the sense where at the end of the day, Stelman, Figueroa, Andrew, a lot of us contractors, we have quotes to meet. To keep my bottom line, to keep the storefront open, I break it down to an hourly rate. I break it down to a quarterly. I break it down to my yearly expense, my P&Ls at the end of the year when you start balancing your books. We need numbers to reflect our metrics. And then customer satisfaction is rated. Then customer reviews are taken into account. And then employees' relationships. These things are secondary, but we need to keep lights on. When it comes to education, it's a little bit different. Depending on the location you're at, depending on the grants that you start getting, depending on how some things are operating, how the funding is, your baseline metric of success when it comes to educating others is their success. Do they graduate? How's their GPA? How's their retention? How's their job placement afterwards? Because depending on the funding structure, that's what's going to keep the school alive, keep the school pushing, keep the school operating, is the student's success. Is a company going to fund your school? Is the government going to give you grant money? Is it going to give you loans? If it's going to give you SBAs? If your school is now failing or your students are coming out with less than they entered, those are two different metrics. So business, we have a different side of metrics that we have to think on. Schools, education, it's a different side. We want to make sure what we give, what we teach, what we offer out to the public, they can retain it, and that's going to be a different metric. That's why it's so important to learn, and I'm learning that the rough way. I have so much more I need to work on when it comes to figuring out the success of your student, and that's what I can't wait to keep learning and keep developing for you guys. And that's why I'm having lives like these. It's recorded on YouTube, so you can replay it all the time. I'm trying to keep myself accountable. I'm trying to learn as I go. I'm never going to say I'm perfect. I'm never going to say I'm number one, but I'm always going to keep striving for that. But that's what I genuinely love. The metric is completely different, and that's what you have to keep in mind. So I'm very excited for this new chapter when it comes to learning and implementing teaching, not telling. Now, everybody can fall short. Everybody knows how to tell somebody to do something. Hey, grab that, do this, put it there, drill this, cut that. We get it. Telling is second nature. That's very simple. But now it comes down to teaching. Can anybody teach? Is that a quality that you see pretty often? And we understand, yes, in theory, anybody can teach. But is it second nature, like telling someone to do that? So teaching versus telling, second nature. Tell people what to do all the time. Kids, 2 years old. Hey, Aaliyah, go take a shower. She goes, no. She's telling me no. My 2-year-old knows how to tell me no. Telling is second nature. Is my 2-year-old going to say, hey, I don't want to take a shower now because I don't think I'm ready to go to bed yet. I got too much energy. Da, 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 da. You see, there's a difference between teaching versus telling. So we know telling is second nature to us. We can tell anybody how we feel. We can tell everybody orders. We can bark them left, right, up, down. Telling is easy. Teaching. Teaching now can be broken down into so many subcategories. But the art of teaching, we understand it's very difficult. We have some comments. Andrew Reynolds. Andrew Reynolds says teaching from book versus hands-on. Those are avenues of teaching. Hands-on learning versus book learning. So those are different under the topic of teaching. That's under. There's hands-on based and there's audio based or book based or theory based. Stellman, I even tell my apprentices to ask why they are doing something. Don't be a robot. Ooh, that's good. That's a good thing because you want them to keep constantly learning. So that's actually pretty impressive. Not too many people are doing that. Not too many people are incentivizing or have that workspace. Like you said before, just do it because I said so, you know? So that's awesome. But teaching, we know that teaching itself is an art. Delivering your message is an art. Projecting presentation, social skills is an art. And just like any other art, you have to work on it. Just like any other art, you have to work on it. You have to be in a position to learn, reflect, communicate, express your ideas, convey that conviction up to others. So we know that so much of that goes into play when it comes to teaching. So not everybody can teach. We know it's a possibility for everyone, but we have to work on the art of teaching, work on presenting, working on public speaking, presentations, et cetera, et cetera. The only way to do that is by practice. Now, how do we break that down? Well, we're going to start working on a class of presentations. We're going to have the art of public speaking. We're going to start working on different classes like that because not only does that art of presenting helps, not just in teaching, but it helps in business. It helps in just day-to-day interactions, communication skills. We know that's something that a lot of people lack. How to convey your message convincingly to somebody else or just going in front of a crowd and then sharing your ideas. So all of these things start coming into play when you're thinking about teaching. You know, there's different qualities you want to learn. There's different styles of teaching. There's different styles of public speaking. You want to find things that match your persona as well as your work experience so you can push that off onto other people. You know, not anybody can be and speak with certain moral authority. Some have to work towards that. Some are very soft-spoken, but they have nice storytelling tactics. All of these things come together when you want to teach. And then, just like any great instructor, Chad can attest to it. Why is Chad so successful? It's because he has the real world application. He knows what the people want. He knows how he interacts with the people. He knows how to go through the motions with them. He knows what they're going through. He's lived it. He's breathed it. And now that helps him when he explains something, not just tell you the code reference, but he's telling people, hey, this is what I've been through. I understand what you're talking about. And that's why his consulting is doing so good. The other day, he told me, well, I was on live. Or no, that was just one-on-one on phone call. But he was saying how his consulting is blowing up because he has that one-on-one relationship, because he has that on-the-job training experience, and he can relate it, just like what Andrew said before, on-the-job training experience, field hand-on training versus book training. So that's some things we want to keep in mind. So teaching versus telling. The culture is so used to telling. We have inspectors like that who just tell us what to do, even has no grounds in the code, no grounds in anything really. So that's the difference that we want to keep in mind. The next where it goes into is now teaching the next generation. So many people fall into hurt people in the sense where I was taught this is how I teach other people. And then now we just keep going down the cycle. We keep going down the downward spiral. Just like downward spirals, we have upward spirals. We want to make sure, hey, if we know how to present, if we know how to communicate, if we know how to share ideas, if we know how to teach rather than tell, in the sense where, just like Stellman, hey, This is why we're doing this. This is why we're doing that. This is not a code reference, but it's a preference because we used to run into XYZ. So this overcomes that. Ba, 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 ba. Those are some examples where you can now help the next generation by working on the current generation. So just appreciate all you guys. Proud of you guys. That's the little discussion I wanted to work on. I'm going to make some videos on it, some content. I'm going to bust out the whiteboard in the back to get down some notes. But that's the difference versus teaching and telling. So many of us, second nature is telling is easy. Teaching is an art that we have to develop. And just like anything else, the human body doesn't want to learn new things. So we got to actually put in an effort when it comes to teaching rather than telling. How about you guys? I want to hear from your thoughts. Anybody have a similar experience? Anybody going through that? Anybody wants to work on that? We're trying to get a few people involved because we want to start on those classes, as well as public speaking, presentation, development, all those different characteristics. Just like anything else, practice is key. So we want to foster a community where we can practice with each other, talk to each other, work on presentation skills. I have a book that I want to work with everybody because, those skills come in handy. Not only work with the family, transmitting your ideas, but also works with business, with customers, with irate customers, especially with team members. When you have friction within the team, how are you going to handle that? Are you just going to blow off? I loved how I don't want to get too much into detail, but I love experiences where you got different personalities getting together. Can be a beautiful thing, but then that can also be a disaster because you don't know how the chemical reaction is going to be with everybody. So those are some things you want to keep in mind. But I love an example with growth getting together. I just love how even when you're trying to teach rather than tell, there's instances where one method of teaching is different from another method, in the sense where if something happens, something comes up, a situation, a disagreement, a misunderstanding comes up, I can justify and say, I'm going to teach them a lesson this way by ABC. Another person who's now listening, taking into account what's going on, can suggest, hey, why don't you teach them with X, Y, and Z? So even when I can say, I'm going to teach a lesson by this way, that method of teaching probably won't last or won't carry the message properly compared to the second way that he suggested. And I didn't think about that because, once again, now human element comes in and you start thinking, start rational. At the end of the day, this message, whatever it is, has to get transmitted, has to be conveyed, has to be brought up. You have to, because we know just in leadership, if that crucial conversation is not having or getting taken place, then you have a possibility of chaos. You have a possibility of something becoming a bigger issue down the road. So now conversation has to happen. How are you going to deliver it? This way or this way? Then you process, am I just going to tell them, hey, this is not how you do it? Or are you going to take the opportunity to teach it? Cool. We're not going to tell him, but I'm going to teach it this way. And he suggested, why don't you teach it this way? Now that's the next layer. It's like an onion. The next layer, you have to go deeper. So even when it comes to teaching, there's no one sure way of teaching. Just like what Andrew brought up, there's hands-on teaching, and then there's the book, knowledge-based theory teaching. In this relationship, I can be like, I was the hard-on, I was the hands-on, do this, then I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind, and I'm gonna be like this. Justifiable? Yes. Getting that point across? Yes. But what would the end result be? Remember, education. What's your metrics mattered? What's your metrics based on? Is it on analytics driven? On just, did you do what you had to do? Or is it the success of the student? And that was a kicker for me. I'm like, dang. So yes, I can teach it this way, the hard way. I can teach and get my point across this way, hands-on wise. I can teach it this way and he's going to understand, but is he going to retain what I just said? So he goes, why don't you teach this? Why don't you highlight this? Why don't you start off the conversation like this? Because once you start it like this, that's going to tie to the end result. He will retain it. And then you can give the message XYZ here. So it's like the order of operation. So even when it comes down to teaching and how you want to deliver that message, both methods of teaching are going to work. But just like what we mentioned in the beginning, when it comes to education, when it comes to presenting, when it comes to transmitting your ideas, the end analytics of success is, how does the person respond to that message? Are they successful? Are they going to retain that information? That's very difficult to transmit. That's very difficult to teach. And so when it comes to education, when it comes to communication skills, when it comes to public speaking, you have to think about the end result, how it's going to develop. And then that dictates the method of your teaching. So once again, it's going back to, what's success look like? What's the message I want to? That happened with Chad. So Chad was helping me with that. So I was very appreciative of him at that moment, because that's a life skill I got to remember. You know, I'm over here working on the leadership, and I'm like, perfect. This is a perfect opportunity to set my standard and go bang, 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 bang. And he's like, hold up. Why don't we do this? And it just blew my mind. Something so simple like that. And then once you go and you determine the end result, because both methods of teaching would have got that message across, but the beginning of both messages dictated the end result. My approach was short, fast, sharp, hard on. But the other one was a softer approach, milder approach, still firm, but it would have had a better outcome. Then you, as an individual, you're a grown ass man. You make the decision to dictate how you're going to have that conversation, if that makes sense. What do you guys think? You get more flies with honey than vinegar. So Diamond, wait, hold on. Let me see if my wife's still on. All right, guys, my wife's off. So now I can, I remember high school, not high school, I'm so sorry. When I was in the union, there was this one foreman we had. His name was Mr. Perry. This guy was hilarious. Hilarious. To this day, he retired. He retired, and he sends me random texts like monthly. Like 3 months ago, he sends me like random facts or Snapple bottle cap facts in a text, and I don't hear from him for months again. So I was in the union, what, 4 or 5 years ago, and till this day, every 3-4 months, he'll send me a text, just like a little, hey, thinking about you. Here's a quote. Boop. Mr. Perry, 3 months ago, his last text was, you can catch flies, or you can catch flies with honey, but you can catch more honey by being fly. That's just what popped into my head. But that was Mr. Perry's quote of the day 3 months ago. So that just jogged the memory. But yeah, no, I appreciate you guys. No, exactly. You can always, you want to think about the long term of that conversation. The end result of the conversation, you want to make sure it's going to be uplifting, that you can retain that friendship, retain that employee, retain that relationship. Renaissance man, not everyone is a good teacher. Exactly. It's a hard skill to develop, to learn about teaching, how to work on teaching, working on communication skills, working on presenting. All that stuff is very difficult. So we all have to keep that in mind. But I appreciate how there's a lot of great guys out there. Remember, you keep learning from them, keep striving to imitate them, take the good with you, apply it to your everyday life, and that's the only way we can keep growing. Now, I want to pass it off to you guys. So today's topic, teaching rather than just telling. We understand that the construction culture, that's very difficult. We understand a lot of times, just like hurt people will hurt people, we have to make sure we can teach and apply differently to the construction culture, change the culture as a whole, because even though the previous generation didn't do a good job or it helped you, there's easier ways to teach, just like the illustration with Diamond with the honey. We got to make sure we convey our message better, clearer, have more respect when it comes to that approach, so we can now retain the guys in the field rather than just have them as a revolving door coming in and coming out, you know. But I appreciate you guys. Teach rather than tell. Someone just says something, yo, back it up. And usually that ends up turning into a fight. But once again, people are so used to just telling people to do something. I'm going to challenge them every day. Remember, we're in the business of building builders and future leaders. The only way we can do that is to make sure everyone's on the up and up at this generation, or we're just going to screw it for everybody else. So keep it up, everyone. Very proud of you guys. Open for now to you guys. We are learn to teach rather than tell. If you guys want to talk about teaching and telling, communication skills, presenting skills, feel free. If you guys want to open up business Q&A, feel free to open it up. We got a few minutes. If nobody jumps in, then we'll just call it an early night. Once again, this was already recorded. It's on YouTube right now, recording right over here. So if you guys have any question, concerns, comments, feel free to drop it in the comments down below. Feel free to replay this on our YouTube channel at Energize Us EDU. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Any questions, Q&As that you want, business-wise, trade-wise, electrical-wise, anything else-wise? If not, I come up with 2 topics if you guys don't have anything, but just wanted to make sure we share that with you guys first. What are your thoughts for tonight, guys? Give it to me, guys. Give it to me. Let me know what you guys are thinking about. If you guys are just jumping on YouTube, we just finished our presentation when it came from teaching rather than telling and how that's affected in the blue collar trades. So many of us fall into the habit of just telling people what to do rather than teaching them what to do. And we see that as a question or a concern that passes on from generation to generation. So if you have any questions, concerns, business-wise that you want to share, comment down below. If not, fun question. Talk to me, Renaissance man. What's your question? Shoot. So let me know what you think. Can I be an electrician during the day and crime fighter at night? You can do whatever you want after hours, bro. What's wrong with that? You can do whatever you want. You can be Batman for all I care. You know, just run through the town, Cape Crusader over here. Man, oh man, oh man. But yeah, just wanted to hear from a few of you guys. You know what I want. If you guys think anything, have any suggestions, let's see what we got. Boom. Boom. Let's see. If not, we can call it an early night, guys, but no pressure, no pressure, no pressure. Do you think lever bypass meters in Connecticut is dumb? No, I love them. I love the lever bypass. How you doing, Killer?
Chilling, doing work.
Yeah?
No, man.
There you go. There you go.
Got the laptop out doing work.
Man, when you're going to get that office manager to do the OT so you can be free, man?
These motherfuckers don't do half the shit I do. They can't do shit. You know what's the best? You know what's the best? Because I'm a short. My business manager is actually starting vacation today.
Oh, that, yeah.
He's going to be away for about 2.5 weeks.
Uh-huh.
So it's me and my estimator. So after he walked out yesterday,
yeah.
I said, yo, when he comes back, we're going to show this motherfucker we don't need his fucking ass.
Yeah, then he come back, all the books are clean. They'll be like, yo, what happened?
Yep, exactly.
That's funny, dude.
So
that's what people talk about toxic workplace.
Oh, I'm toxic to the core, baby. My guys love it, though.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's good.
I start mad drama. I'll be like, yo, this guy just said that shit about you. They know I'm joking.
Yeah.
They start talking shit. Start drama.
Bro.
Everyone loves each other.
I remember it was back in my union days. We were on this job site. We were like up north too. And we were staying on site, like up there for like 6 months. It was like middle of New York, whatnot. But it was that day, like we were all having lunch and we were just talking crap to each other, bro. Like this, and it was a whole bunch of New Yorkers, so we were just having fun. But we were talking about basketball, like, yo, I would whoop you in a game, bro. Right. Dude, we talked so bad. HR got involved. Safety was there because they thought it was like a brawl. They thought it was going to be bad. And we were like at lunch. And then, guys, like as long as we bark back and forth, nothing happened. They're just barking. Something serious when everyone get quiet because it's like, I'm done. We ain't going to talk about it no more. We just going to, yeah, we hit a nerve. We ain't going. So it was just like back and forth, back and blah, blah. And they're like, yo, we'll settle this after work, 5 o'clock. Just like that, man, we're going to settle it. And then we all got quiet and everyone's like, oh yeah, these dudes heated. Dude, we had like a group of like 400 union guys and we just went to like a random court just to like, bro, we ended up fighting for like 20 minutes. We didn't even play basketball, dude. It was just, yeah, it was wild. Dude, those are some crazy times though, but it was funny, dude. We talked so much crap. Everyone thought we were going to, but it turned into just a fouling game, bro. We were just bodying people. But that was, oh man.
Thank God I don't have HR on my company.
Right? No, people be saying that all the time. Like joke. So let me see. Make sure no one's on. I'm gonna have to pause YouTube real quick. Hold up, because just in case they see this recording. Yeah. Like I didn't even expect it, but anyway, but that was funny, bro. That's definitely an HR case right there.
I never understood. I mean, I never had that happen to me yet, but I just never really ran into one, but I interact with one. So I go in New York City.
You can see from afar though.
Yeah, like I just never, never really had to interact with them. But
I'm telling you. The funniest memes I've been seeing lately over when that first started was I feel like this is after live combo. All right. Yeah, exactly. Yo, why you get so busy now? Yeah. Cancel. Yeah. Nah, man. But yeah, no, it's different. It's different out there. So that's crazy. No, that's gonna be exciting though that you have your office manager and everything now on vacation. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, but I'm excited. There's a question. What percentage of electricians you think are good at pipe bending? I would say like what? 10 to 20%?
Yeah, I would say 10 to 20. Honestly, like in my company, we never bend pipe.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's mainly a union stuff. Union commercial,
I'm not bad with it. Like basically I went in my because I did commercial work for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit. But like I never used one of those big pipe benders. Everything was hand bent or we bought prefab.
Yeah.
But like in my company, all the time we use pipe is a boiler room. And it's all little pieces, little offsets, crazy. And I'll be honest, when it comes to pipe, I'm a speed guy. So cut it and coupling it, bro. Stop fucking trying to make a science project. Let's fucking go.
Oh yeah, get
it looks nice. Cut the fucking thing, put a coupling.
Yeah. Yo, Peter, that's what
Peter's probably gonna get mad at me for that one.
He said they call me the Great Bendini. This dude, too funny. No, that was a good question. Nah. Man. All right. I think it's going to be a quick, calm night. It's 10 o'clock already. Everyone, have a good night. Appreciate you guys. Be safe.
Good night, everybody. Have a good one.
Night.
Later, bro.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.